Good morning. There's been a lot of interest recently into the amazing race event that Rudy and I host each year at Easter time. So I thought I'd take this opportunity to give you a bit more of an insight into what the event is about and what you can expect at the event. So bear with me. This is going to be pretty rough and ready, this video clip, but I'll try and run through it as quick as possible and give you a bit more insight into what's involved. So first of all, it's held every year at Easter time. The actual competition itself is run over 3 days. So there's Good Friday, Easter Saturday and Easter Sunday, 3 different courses, course A, B and C. Competitors are split into 3 groups. Usually we have around about 30 competitors, so there'll be 10 vehicles in each group. They're just randomly decided, and therefore you have 10 competitors out on each course each day. And so if you do course A the first day, you do course B the second, and so on. Courses usually start around about, or briefing is usually around about 7:30, 8 o'clock, something like that. And then you'll be underway by 9 o'clock and expected back at camp at 4 to 5 o'clock. This can vary a little bit, but you'll be told the start and finishing times at briefing or in your notes. So that's pretty straightforward. The final day we usually try and get competitors back a little bit earlier, just so that Rudy and I have more time to score and check over things. Then on the Sunday night we do the presentations. After we provide a catered tea. It's usually like roast meat and barbecue on the Sunday night. Then presentations. And then we kick around the fire and have a big social get together. And then Monday you get up and pack up and go home. So it's all conducted over the Easter break. So the base camp is just outside of Goroke, which is a small country town. It does have a supermarket, it does have a really good takeaway food shop, and it does have a pub available there. Oh, and fuel is available. So all your necessities are all there. If you run low on anything, you can just duck into town. We're literally 5 minutes from the middle of town, camped out in the state forest. So about the event itself. Each day you start with a briefing, and that's where Rudy and myself will run through any specifics to do with the courses to all the competitors, and we will sort of set you on your way. So straight into the event itself. What happens? So you have briefing, we have a chat to you. You will be handed a folder nowadays with everything in it. So let's go through the folder and I'll show you all the different contents. So in your folder you'll receive 3 things usually. Your course notes for the day, we'll run through those in a minute, an answer sheet, and the official paper map that everything will be based upon. Now Kelvin and Natalie, if you're watching this, you can stop watching now if you wish. I won't be giving away any secrets, so sorry, there'll be no benefit from watching this in this year's event. So now we'll run you through what a general course involves. So here's your course notes. You read everything on your course notes from front to back before you start, because Rudy and I like to hide things throughout the notes which might be important at the start of the day. But the actual questions and everything will be in order. So the aim of the event is to drive from task card to task card on the shortest possible route. So the first thing you do in your notes is you look for information that you can apply to the map. Obviously your first task is to get to the task card. So if we look at the course notes, it starts with a question. So that's not telling us how to get to the task card. The second instruction, which is usually in a different colour when it's a task card related instruction, says your first task card is found at. There's a set of coordinates and there's an instruction. Use Marsh Lane and part of Yoda Pines track in your route. So there's two ways you can do this. You can either apply the coordinate to the paper map by using so you've got a scale there along the sides of the map, down both sides. You can put the coordinates in and measure it out on the map, or you can use Aussie Explorer on a laptop or tablet, something like that, which is what the majority of competitors do, and you can simply type the coordinate in, which I've already done, and it comes up down here on the map, task card 1, and then what I normally do is then put that onto the paper map. So I've drawn it in here. Once again, everything is on the paper map, so if you were to plot it on the paper map, there's a possibility that you could be more accurate than what the digital map is, because we've taken and written all our instructions off the paper map. And if we've altered something on the paper map, then the paper map's going to be correct. So I've marked my task card 1 position as per the instruction. Then it's stipulated must use Marsh Lane and part of Yoda Pines. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get from base camp to task card 1, and I've got to find Marsh Lane and Yoda Pines track because I have to use those. If I look carefully, there's Yoda Pines track, so I only want to use part of that, don't want to use all of it. And Marsh Lane, here we go, it's hard to see with the glare, but there's Marsh Lane, and I have to use that. So the first thing I would do is highlight that, and I would highlight some of that track or a dot on that track so that I know to use it. Then it's a matter of plotting the shortest route. So you're starting here. The shortest way to Marsh Lane is obviously straight down and across, whoops, hard to do it with my finger, across to Marsh Lane. There's no way that any other route would be shorter. Then from there, we're trying to get down to Yoda Pines. So again, shortest route is obviously out and around this way to Yoda Pines and then down to our task card. When you arrive at task card, you find something. So let's pretend that we've arrived at this waypoint. Let's go find the task card now. So we've arrived at that coordinate and we're looking for the task card. It's within 10 metres of wherever the coordinate is where you can park your car. Oh, what's this? A little container hidden behind the tree. We grab out the container, we open it up, and inside we find a little card like this, and it gives you another instruction. This one isn't relevant to that particular course, but the card that you find will say your second task card can be found at, and it'll give you some more instructions on how to find it and where to find it. There'll be a bunch of these task cards on a cable tie within the little container. You rip one off and you take it with you because you get points for taking this card back and handing it in. You leave the rest of the cards in the bucket, put its lid back on, and put it back exactly as you find it. So, what happens next? Let's go. So, once we had that, found that task card that told us where the second one is, we would then, back at the car, do the same thing. You would put task card 2's information in, which turns out it was this coordinate down here, and it may have instructions on the card telling you again what tracks to use or somewhere you might have to visit along the way. And obviously you plot from where you are, which was task card 1 up here. You would plot the course according to those instructions and the shortest route to get there. It's always the shortest route unless told otherwise. Sometimes it can be difficult to work out which one the shortest route is. That's where your laptop comes in, because you can measure the length of tracks on there very accurately and compare them, and obviously the shorter one is the one that you take. You can measure on the map, on the paper map, either using a ruler, or you can use a piece of string and then measure the length of the string, so on and so forth. These are all little techniques that you work out over time. Now, that's the basic crux of the event. You go from task card to task card, doing one thing at a time. When you get to the next task card, you find a little bucket, has a card in it, gives you another instruction to do the next bit. Eventually, you will get to a point where the task card will say, head back to base camp. That's the end of your course. Well, the task card's not the end of the course. What it's telling you to do on the way to base camp is the last bit of your course. You arrive back at base camp. You're done. Finalise your answer sheet, hand in your notes. That's it for the day. Go and sit around the fire with your mates and have a good, fun social evening until tomorrow morning when you start it all again. Now, that sounds pretty simple, but what I haven't told you about are the questions. So in between your task cards, you will only be told where your first one is on your notes, then the others will fit into the flow of your course. So if you are driving along the correct route in the morning when you left base camp heading for task card 1, somewhere along the way you will find something that tells you who was the first headmaster of the first Goroke school. So my thoughts would be that'll be on a plaque or an information sign. So as you're driving along the route to your first task card, you're looking and stopping at all the plaques and all the information signs until you find that answer. Then after the first task card, you've got this find me picture. So once you leave the first task card and you're on the way to the second one, you're looking for this old chair under a gum tree. Somewhere, if you're on the right track, you'll come across it. When you do, you jot down the coordinates. Up here in this, this box here, jot down the coordinates of where you find that photo. You get the coordinates off the laptop because it'll be telling you exactly where you are. Next question. What is the trig plaque number at? Oh look, there's a set of coordinates. So this is what I was getting at before. At the start of the day, read all of your notes and put all the information in. When you put that coordinate on the map, oh look, here's question number 3's coordinates. So when we were plotting from task card 1 down to task card 2, if we had that information there, that means that we have to go through that point. That helps us decide how to get from one place to the other. Otherwise, it would have been shorter to come down this road here. That's why you got to read all your notes. There was information to give you that position and that you have to visit that position. So when you're at that coordinate, you find the trig plaque, mark down the number. Next question, what date did Major Mitchell pass through? Found opposite the, Migga Lake Public Hall. Another bit of information. Oh look, here's an area name, Migga Lake. There's a H there, that's going to be the town hall. I reckon the answer to what date did Major Mitchell pass through found opposite the Migga Lake Public Hall, I reckon there might be a plaque there. So again, there's a little hint of which way you needed to go to get to task card 2. So read your notes. Kelvin and Natalie, if you're still watching, you will completely understand why I'm stressing read your notes, because you've done enough of these to know that it's all in the notes. Next one again, as you're driving along, find me picture. Oh, it's a tag on a tree with the number 19 on it. And we've mixed it up in this particular one. We've made the photo black and white, so it makes it a little bit trickier to find. So on and so forth. Everything's in order. More find me photos, more questions. There's some coordinates there you would put in, so on and so forth. That is the main crux of the event. Fairly straightforward. The beauty of Amazing Race is that you're only doing one thing at a time. You're only heading to one task card at a time, and you're just answering the questions along the way. Other events that Kelvin and Natalie and myself do, the nav run type challenge events that we do, are not like that. You're plotting the entire route from the start of the day, and you don't get any more information throughout the day. That's a completely different style of event. These ones are much simpler. You're just doing one little thing at a time. So what equipment do you need to compete in this event? Aussie Explorer definitely makes it a lot easier. Having Aussie Explorer on a laptop or a tablet, something like that, gives you a lot more insight into exactly where you are, and it allows you to plot waypoints a lot easier, especially if you're not confident in doing them straight on the paper map. The GPS can do it for you, and then you can just transfer it over to the paper map by comparing the image, basically. So that is really good, and obviously it gives you a live representation of where you are throughout the day as you're driving along, which is really good. So my recommendation would be to definitely have some device that can run Aussie Explorer. Aussie Explorer is a free program, which Rudy and myself can help you set up, or Kelvin can help you set it up, whoever. It doesn't work on Apple. Let's make that really clear. It is only an Android-based or Windows-based program, so be aware of that. And obviously if you're running it on a laptop or a tablet or whatever, that laptop or tablet needs to have some form of GPS so that it can position itself. So in my case, I use a laptop, and I went and bought a little GPS dongle, like a USB dongle that you plug in, and that works perfectly fine. When I use Aussie Explorer on my Android phone, my phone already has a GPS built into it, so I don't need to add anything there. So it just depends on what device you have, what device you're using, as to what you need. Other than that, the other equipment is all listed in the notes, but it's very simple stuff, like handheld compass, scale rulers for measuring on the maps, highlighters for marking your tracks, all those real basic stationary items. The big ticket items is whatever device you're going to use to plot the course, to plot the waypoints, I should say. Other than that, that is the crux of the event. It is a great social event. Like I said, you get to sit around with your mates, make new mates in the evenings and that sort of thing. Kids are well and truly welcome, so we do run the adults course, obviously, which is all in one. All competitors are in the one course, the one event. You're competing against all 30 vehicles. But then the kids, we actually organise 3 different kids courses in 3 different age groups, and they get their own notes, and providing the adults are doing the courses correctly, the children will be answering their questions on their courses throughout the day as well. They have completely separate notes, and they're competing in a completely separate event. So that's a kids thing. And then of an evening, when you get back to camp, Sally runs kids activities to keep the children entertained for an hour or so when the adults get back to camp, so that you get a bit of downtime to socialise. That's the crux of the event. I don't think there's too much more to it. Obviously, there are twists and turns and tricky stuff that we put into the notes just to keep everyone on their toes. There's nothing exceptionally difficult. It's just read it, think about it, and try and apply it to the paper map. There's nothing more difficult than that. When I say tricky stuff, I suppose I mean we might not tell you the exact coordinates of somewhere that you need to go, but we will have given you enough information for you to work out where that is. It might be that we've given you a couple of coordinates somewhere on the map, but we're telling you you need to be a certain distance from each of those things. Now, that's when the navigation side starts to get a bit more tricky. But at any time throughout the course, if you do have problems or whatever, you can always ring Rudy or myself for help, and we will usually help you. We can't exactly tell you the answer, but we can try and help you if you're having navigational issues. If you're a newcomer, we will help you. That'll be fine. If you've been around for a while, Kelvin, Natalie, and you ring for help, you know you may be penalised for doing so. But yes, there's always help available and that sort of thing. Other competitors, if you ask them, may help you. Some will, some won't. So don't think that you're all alone out there. You get lost and you can't find your way back. You'll always get back. You'll always have fun. And people will help you. The driving, let's touch on that for a moment. The actual course, the terrain, majority of it is sand driving and gravel roads. Personally, I would say that there is nothing difficult out there at all. There will only be probably 50% or less that you will even put your vehicle into four-wheel drive. We simply stipulate that you have a four-wheel drive with a bit of clearance and that actually has high and low range four-wheel drive just for those soft sections. We don't want to send anybody out there whose vehicle's not capable of actually driving the course. But there is nothing that's going to damage your vehicle. There's no need for winches. There's no need for 4-inch lifts and 35-inch tyres or anything like that. This event is not like that. This event is very straightforward, a bit of sand driving. Sometimes the sand can be very soft and deep, but it's nothing that lowering your tyre pressures won't stop you from getting through. And probably a fair chunk of it is gravel roads. So there's nothing to worry about there. You won't be doing any damage to your vehicle. Okay, sometimes we might slip in a bit of a slightly overgrown track or something like that, where you might push through a few bushes or something, but it's a very, very, very small percentage of the overall picture, the overall course. So that's the idea of it. Hopefully that's given you a really good insight into what the event's about, how to go about it, and all that sort of thing. Any questions, feel free to shoot them at me or Kelvin or any other person that's done it before. We can answer your questions. Yeah, and I suppose the final thing of why we do it is for those things over there, those trophies. That's why Sally and I do it, because we're very competitive people, and yeah, we love winning. So you go out there, you have fun with your mates and other four-wheel drive enthusiasts, and it's a good bit of rivalry between cars. Kelvin and Natalie are very competitive people, and it's always good fun to have a bit of rivalry, especially if you're in the same group out on the tracks, because everyone's doing it at their own speed. There's nothing saying that you've got to be first. There's definitely nothing saying that. It's just do it at your own speed. So some people will take off really quick at the start of the day. They'll look at their notes for 5 minutes and they'll be on their way. But then there's other people that might try and plot everything at camp before they leave. My suggestion, do that. Read through your notes, plot every bit of information you possibly can at camp, because it all helps. Those that plot at camp might sit at camp for half an hour, 45 minutes before they drive away. Then somewhere out there on the tracks, those people that ducked off first, they're going to be stopped on the side of the track somewhere, plotting the next bit of information, because at some stage you've all got to do it. So you'll be passing people on the tracks all the time, and that's where sometimes the fun comes into it. If Kelvin and I are in the same group, we might pass each other first thing in the morning, then we might not see each other all day. And in the last hour of the course, we might cross each other again and go, well, how'd that happen? We never saw each other throughout the whole day, so where's he been? But that's where it's all fun, and then come back, sit around the campfire. If you're in the same group as your mates, you can sort of sit around the campfire and have a quiet chat about the course you've both done. If you are in separate groups and done separate courses, we ask that you don't explain anything about the course you did today with the other competitors that haven't done your course, because obviously that gives them advantage of what's coming up. Usually that's pretty good around the fire. We can't, as organisers, Rudy and I can't do much about that. We try to just discourage sharing of information so that it's fair for everybody. But that's all we can really do. If we hear of any really bad cases of it, well, then we can take action. But other than that, most people are pretty honest and straightforward about it. So that's the crux of the event. I hope you've got something out of this little video clip, and I hope that it has spiked some sort of interest with you, and that we might see you at an event in the future. The other thing I suppose I could say, and I'll just add it in quickly here at the end, is if you're still hesitant about coming and doing this event, like you're really keen but you're just still not sure, the other way that you could probably tackle your first event is to buddy up with another competitor. Not so much in separate vehicles, but if you could fit all the occupants into one vehicle, then those people that have done the event before could potentially help you through it. The only reason I'm saying that is if you're all in one vehicle, well, that's one entry fee, and you'll be classed as one team. So you could help each other through it, and you'd get a bit of an insight into how it all works. Otherwise, if you want to compete as, like, you want to buddy up with an existing competitor or whatever, or you're bringing two lots of newbies along, the two cars we can make sure that they're paired in the same group so that you can both go around and work together. We can do that, but obviously each car will be an entry fee, and therefore you'll be working together but competing separately. But that has been done before. We don't like huge groups doing that, but one or two cars, especially new people coming along and trying it, we don't mind that. That works quite fine. So yeah, any questions, shoot me a message, but hopefully that's given you a really good insight into what it's all about, and I hope you enjoy it if you come along. Thank you.